Welcome to iOS Insights, the channel for iOS app development using SwiftUI and Swift. In this tutorial, we will be populating a pie chart using JSON data in SwiftUI. So this is the pie chart we'll be creating, and all of the actual information comes from a JSON file, a JSON array. As you can see, it contains about 10 different orders or products. So this is what we will be doing in the tutorial. So this is the JSON data that we will be using in this tutorial. The JSON data includes an array of objects. These are the keys. Order count is the key, and this is the value, which is 2000. And also product type is the key, and electronics is the value. So it's the key value pair. So the first thing you need to do is to create this JSON file. And how you do it, you have to hold down Control key and then left click on the mouse and then select New File. And then you navigate to the empty file. So you click on it and then you just give it a name. I'll just call it customer orders 1.json, but you call yours customer orders. So I'm just calling it customer orders 1 because customer orders.json already exists. So I just create it and I'll be deleting it afterwards. As you can see, there's a JSON file, customer orders 1 and customer orders. So because customer orders already exists, we will delete customer orders 1 because customer orders 1 isn't needed. So to delete it, just click on backspace and then select move to trash. So this is the actual JSON you have to type in manually into customer orders.json file. The next thing we have to do is to create a class called data manager. So to do that, just click on Control key and then left click on the mouse button, on the mouse pad, and then click on New File. Select SwiftUI as the file. And then for the class name, for the file name, just enter data manager. Click on create. Next thing we need to do is type the following, which is struct product codable let product type string, let order count int. So product type is a codable object, and the reason why it's codable is because we will be mapping the actual JSON structure to our codable product class. And as you can see, the codable product class, it includes the same attributes as our JSON. So if I go back into the JSON, you'll see it has the same attributes, order count, and product type. I'll just copy it, and then you can compare it on the next screen. So if I just place it here, you can see it has the same attributes, order counts, which is there, and product type, which is there, and the data type for product type is string, which is this one here, home decor, and order count is int data type. So the next thing we need to do is to create our class, which is public class data manager. And then we create a static function called static function read JSON data that returns an array of product. So it returns a list of products. Then create a variable var loaded products. Product equals open bracket, close bracket. So that creates an empty object array of product. Next thing we need to do is to check that the JSON file exists in the project bundle. So what we do is type in the following: if let file URL. So we're doing safe unwrapping equals bundle main.url for resource. And then we enter the name of the file, our JSON file, which is called customer orders, which is the same file here on the left hand pane. And the extension is JSON. And then if any errors happen, we need to capture those errors using a do statement, and also have the catch statement. So what we do here is type in let data equals try data contents of file URL. So what that does, it just reads the data from the file using this URL. So we're passing this URL, this file URL, to the contents of the data object. So it's just passing it to the constructor or the initializer of the data object. Let decoder equals JSON decoder. So that just creates a new instance of the JSON decoder so that we can use it when we're decoding the JSON into our array. Loaded products equals try decoder decode product dot cell from data. And so what this means, line 27, is that the decode method will be expecting an array of JSON. That's why there's brackets around the product. That's why there's these brackets. That means it's expecting a JSON payload. If it didn't have the brackets, if it had this, as in no brackets. That means it's expecting a dictionary, but because we're like using arrays of JSON, we need to include the brackets so that the information will be decoded or received correctly, as in pass. And just display any error, just in case any errors happen. So you can just type in error loading JSON data, and then just put error there, so it would just display the error to the console, just for testing purposes. And now the next thing we need to do is to return the result back to the caller or back to the routine that's waiting for the method to finish. Return loaded products. Now let's compile it to make sure it's correct. Still compiling. It's compiled. So now the next thing we need to do is to create a pie chart view model. So to do that, we need to create a SwiftUI or import SwiftUI. So we have to create another file. So just click on Control and then New File, and then select Swift File. Call the new file, name the new file pie chart view model. And then next we need to import SwiftUI. And then create our class pie chart view model, observable object. And then the purpose of using observable object is to listen for changes that will be happening. And then we have to create another variable, which is a publish object. So at publish bar product. And the purpose of the publish object is to publish as to notify the application of any changes that's happened. And then on the UI will be refreshed with the updates from the publish using observable. Now we have to create an initializer, init, and the next thing we need to do is to create a function to fetch all the products from the JSON file. So let's call that func fetch products. And then within the initializer, just type in fetch products. And it'll spell incorrectly, so it should be D-U-C at the end. D-U-C. and then we have to assign the fetch products to our products array. So how we do that? We just type in products, data, manager, dot read, JSON data. So as soon as the read JSON data method is called, the data will then be inserted into products, into the products array. So the next thing we need to do, we need to create a function that will generate or create an array of slices for the pie chart, and that function will create and display the actual order count and the actual slice value. So to do that, we need to type in the following function, func create slices slice. So the create slices function returns an array of slices. And the next thing we need to do is calculate the total order count by summing the order counts from the products. And how we do that, we type in the following: let total order count equals products map $0 order count reduce $0 plus. So what that does, it's a little bit like using the for loop. It does all the concatenation and then it calculates the actual sum. That will be a single value for the actual order count. Yeah, because slice doesn't exist, we haven't created that object as yet. That's why there's an error, but we'll create that later. The next thing we need to do is create an array to store the slices and the percentages. So what we do, we just create a new variable, var slices, slice. So that creates an empty array, var total double equals 0.0. And now we need to loop through the products to create the slices. So just type in for index product in products enumerated let value equals double product order count. So what that's doing is it's getting the order count for the current product, and then we need to the next thing we need to do is to calculate the percentage of the product and the order count. that's related to the total. So how we do that, we have to create another variable. Let percentage equals total order count is not equal to 0 or value double total order count. On line 26 there's an error. There shouldn't be an S at the end of order counts. So let's delete the S there. So total order count times by 100. And we need a space after the equals. And let's see if there's any more errors. We need to pull this in a bit. And then we need a colon here, 0. And then the next thing we need to do is to calculate the start and the end angles for the slice. So we need to type in the following. Let start angle equals slices plus end angle because we haven't created the slice object as yet, end angle is not available, but we'll be doing that later. Question mark, dot, degrees, 0. Next thing we need to do is to calculate the end angle. End angle equals start angle plus dot degrees percentage times by 3.6. And then next thing we need to do is create a get color function. And the purpose of the get color function is to color each of the slices based on their index. So to do that, we need to navigate down to line 41 and create a new function. It's called func get color. index int returns a color. Let colors color equals dot red, green, dot blue, dot orange, dot yellow, dot purple, dot brown. So what that does, it defines an array of color objects. And then the next thing we need to do is to calculate the remainder of the index divided by the number of colors in the array. So how we do that is we type the following: let wrap index equals index modular sign colors dot count. And then no, that's incorrect. It should be colors dot count. And the next thing we need to do is to return the color at the calculated index, the calculated wrap index. So just type in return colors wrap index. So now the get color function that's now done. So now we return back to lines 38. And now you can get the actual color from the get color array. So just type in let color equals get color index. So what that will do, it will get a color for the slice based on the index. So if the index was 0, it will get red. If the index was 1, it will get green. If the index was 2, it will get blue. And next thing we need to do is to create another variable called slice equals slice. So at the moment we don't have our slice class, but we can type in the values. Value, value, color, new color, color, start, angle, start, angle, end, angle, end, angle, total, double, total, order count. So when the slice object has been created, it will be passing these parameters to the constructor, to the initializer. Next thing we need to do is to update the percentage for the actual slice of the pie chart. So how we do that, we just do concatenation on the total. So just type in total plus equals percentage. And then we add the new slice that we created to the slices array. Yeah, so there are a few compile time errors because, as I said before, we don't have the slice object or class at the moment. So next week we will create the slice object. So at the moment this is what the code looks like, and also the data manager class, the content view, we haven't started on that as yet. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.